Hello everyone, welcome back. And since it is the end of the year and actually the end of the decade, I thought I'd do a video that's pretty new but similar to the other videos I do, like the movies I've seen worst to first, or even the top 10 movie moments, which I've done in the past 2 years I believe, which I'll still be doing. But I thought I'd get this video up first. In this video I just want to give my ranking for, like, since it is, like, it's crazy, we're about to be in a new decade, guys, so I thought I'd give my ranking for top 3 movies per year of the 2010s. So that means my personal 3 favorite movies of either 2010, 2011, 2012, etc. up to 2019. Now, 2019 obviously isn't over yet. I still plan on seeing a couple more movies, like maybe 1 or 2. So if one of those movies ends up being in my top 3, just a disclaimer, this video came out prior, so this was my 3 favorites before I saw those movies. But it's unlikely, but they still look like they'll be good, but you'll see what they are when I do see them, or one of them. Depends how much time I have. But this video is going to be pretty long, I think, so I just want to get into it. But also, I'll have in the description the time codes for each year, so if you don't want to watch every single year, because I'm not going to lie, the first year or two, I was like grasping because I didn't see half of those films really in the year. Like, I've watched most of these films earlier before I started my channel on rewatches on like DVD and stuff. I didn't see them in the theater. So, but yeah, once we get to like at least when my channel started, you have a better grasp on, like, it was a great choice and a lot to choose from. But without that said, the 2010s, 2010. Now for 2010, for my number 3 pick, I picked How to Train Your Dragon. Now, I picked the first one because, like, that was a really tough year for me to pick stuff that I liked that came out that year. But I thought, like, this was a solid film from DreamWorks. It was a nice thing about Hiccup, who is, like, in this village of Vikingers, and he wants to prove himself, so he shoots down the dragon, but then he befriends the dragon, and they become, like, best friends. And then, it was just, like, a nice story of, friendship and, him trying to be someone who he's not, standing up, being who he wants to be. It was that kind of stuff, but it had some really good animation, some pretty good voice work, and I think it's probably the best of the trilogy, because that third one was trash that came out earlier this year. The second one was pretty good, but solid film. Number 2, Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 1. Now, this film I thought was, like, a lot of Harry Potter fans, or Potterheads as I think they're called, say that it's the worst of the whole series and stuff, but I found it to be pretty excellent because while it's not, like, the best Harry Potter film, I like how it's a bit different. Like, you aren't really at Hogwarts throughout the film. It's just them on the run. It had that kind of suspenseful tone with the movie. They're just trying to stay one step ahead, and it's crazy. It really shows you how dire the situations are, because the majority of this movie is them trying to get rid of this one Horcrux, which is one of like 7 or 8 that are keeping the Voldemort, the main antagonist, alive. So it just really shows how dire the situations are, and you have main characters dying left and right. Really well done score, well done performances, and a really great beginning of the end for this series. On to number 1, and for this year it was Toy Story 3. Now, before they had to release Toy Story 4, I thought this was a fantastic conclusion that hit all the right notes, being emotional, sweet, funny, really well animated, great voice work, and it really felt like the end of like a story. Like, you were with these characters for sometimes, like, I think over a decade or so. Like, the first one came out in 1995, and for it to wrap up and conclude like this, like, I thought it was pretty nice. It went full circle, and I just thought it was a really excellent film from Pixar. And also, a side note, it's one of the 3 animated films ever to be nominated for a Best Picture at the Oscars, so that's also really impressive. But yeah, on to 2011. Now, number 3 for 2011 is X-Men First Class. Now, I'm not going to really apologize here, but you're going to see a lot of Marvel movies on these lists going forward, but I don't care. I just thought that this was, like, after the mess that was Last Stand, and then the even bigger mess that was Origins Wolverine, they decided to just kind of do a sort of reboot with younger versions of the characters we know and love from the original X-Men. And I thought they pulled it off really well. It takes place during the Cuban Missile Crisis. They worked that into the story. It's about how they all met, and they have this other antagonist, and it plants the seeds for where these characters are going. Pretty basic stuff, but I just thought it was really entertaining, really well done performances, and a nice little film. Alright, on to number 2, Kung Fu Panda 2. Yes, another film from DreamWorks. Like, DreamWorks, whenever they make a good film, it's really good. Like, I thought this film was so well done. Like, it builds upon the first film, which was nice fun. This one actually delves in some pretty dark stuff. Like, you have the main character who's trying to figure out who he is and who his family is and stuff. So and the main antagonist ties into that and what happened with his past and how dark it is and stuff. And it's just them trying to stop him. But I don't know, that stuff and the music and all, that really hits me. I thought that was really well done. And all the voice work was great. Animation was pretty spot on. And it just had some really good moments in the movie. I thought it was a really nice film. Alright, on to number 1. And that's Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows, Part 2. Yes, the conclusion to the Harry Potter story. And wow, what a way to go out. I thought it was fantastic. It like had this fast pace to it. Unlike Rise of Skywalker though, this one does it where like all the scenes feel necessary. It's the shortest of the series. I believe it's like one of the shortest movies of the series, but it ties up everything so perfectly. Like, it goes from set piece to set piece. You have some character moments, some fan service that you've been wanting to see, and the score is phenomenal. And it was just a really, like, following these characters for a decade, literally 2001 to 2011, really excellent. And how it ends, it still gets me every time. I thought it was perfect. On to 2012. Now, number 3 for 2012, I'll say Zero Dark 30. Ooh, it's like one of the first mature films on my list. Ooh, goody. But yeah, this film, it blew me away when I first saw it. It's directed by Kathryn Bigelow, who also did Hurt Locker, which was phenomenal. And here it's basically after the September 11th attacks, it's them trying to hunt and find Osama bin Laden to try to get justice for what happened. And it's this really tense, dramatic, really whoa story of how they spent that past decade hunting him down and looking for him, and all the tactics they did, the eventual capture and getting him. It was just like really well done, really tense. It had some really great performances from Jessica Chastain. I believe Jason Clarke's in there. Chris Pratt is like the soldier that gets him. So I was like, okay, like, it was pretty well done. This was a really good film. Number 2, of course, The Avengers. Now, one of the first Marvel movies to be on my list here. I thought The Avengers blew me away. I remember everyone was doubting it. This movie's gonna bomb. It's not gonna do as well. All their time setting this up for nothing. And then it opened over $200 million, the biggest at the time, and became, I believe, the 3rd highest grossing film at the time. It's still in the top 10 currently, and now everyone was scrambling to get their cinematic universes after this film proved to be such a massive success. And wow, what a film. Really great moments. Like, this was like the first of this we've ever seen where all these characters teamed up together and all. I just thought it was excellent. And number 1, Silver Linings Playbook. You may be like, what is that film? But when I remember watching this, and I was just like really impressed. It's about Bradley Cooper's character, who after getting into like a divorce or something with his wife, and who was in the mental hospital due to some stuff that happened, he goes to live with his parents, and he's trying so desperately to get back with this girl because she cheated on him. And so he really wants to win her back and stuff. So he meets Jennifer Lawrence's character, who has in contact with her, but she won't get in contact with her unless he helps her with something. So it's one of those. But I just thought it was excellent performances, really tense moments, and it just feels uplifting near the end. I just thought it was a really well done film. We're on to 2013 now, guys, and number 3 is Iron Man 3. Iron Man 3 is obviously another Marvel movie, but a lot of people I've seen over the years hate on it and stuff, but I thought it was really good. Like, a lot of people, the reason why they hate it is one of the reasons why I like it. How it focuses on him without the suit, how he is as a person. And while the villain is and like it does have some of the cliches, I just like that meaningful message on you don't need to have your suit and all to do stuff. Like, I like that he was doing most of the stuff in the movie without his suit. A lot of people found that boring. I personally really liked it. There you have it. Number 2, The Wolf of Wall Street. Such an excellent film. I watched this like a few months ago, and good thing I did, because it's easily one of the best films that came out that year. I thought, like, it's 3-hour runtime. I think this is one of Martin Scorsese's best work, and it's based on a true story about Jordan Belfort, who is this Wall Street broker, how he rose to prominence and then ultimately fell. I just thought it was, like, Leonardo DiCaprio was spectacular. I don't know how he didn't win an Oscar. And Jonah Hill as his sidekick or whatever was really great. Margot Robbie even sneaks in a pretty good role. It was really well done. The pacing was perfect because it didn't feel like 3 hours. I was like, it's over? It's excellent film. And of course, number 1 for this year is Saving Mr. Banks. A truly special film that still sticks with me since I saw it. And one of the reasons why I think it does is because not only is it a Disney film, but it's also based on the true story and how the writer, like the author of the Mary Poppins novel, teamed up with Walt Disney to make this movie. And it's like, it's really like good. Like the moments where they're just in the room talking, like you have the Sherman brothers in there as well. You just have them all discussing how to make the film, how they add some stuff from her past, and it really fits well. A lot of people didn't like those moments. I personally love those moments. And I just thought the film was excellent. You have great performances. Tom Hanks, phenomenal as Walt Disney. Emma Thompson, great as P.L. Travers. Paul Giamatti as like the limousine driver for her. So nice, so good. This movie is just perfect. I love it so much. We're on to 2014 now, guys, and I'm here for number 3. It's Nightcrawler. Now, Nightcrawler is one of the most tense, suspenseful films I've seen in a while. And it's basically Jake Gyllenhaal at his peak excellence of acting, where he's just like, he's crazy. It's this crazy guy, but he's trying to like work his way to the top at this news station. So he does whatever it needs to do to get the right shot, to get the right story. Even if he's sabotaging and sometimes, allowing people to get murdered just for him to get the juicy story. And it's so riveting and yet really creepy at the same time, with really great performances, well done moments. It was just a really great film. Number 2, Guardians of the Galaxy. Yes, I remember I almost didn't see this film in theaters, and I was really skeptical because it looked odd to me. But I'm so glad I went to see it, because I fell in love with it. Like, everyone's talked about why they love this film so much. It's pretty much the same I have here. All the characters were fantastic. Some of my favorites in the series. You have excellent music to play throughout the story. You have a pretty simplistic villain, I'll give it that, but it just looks great. It feels great. It's fresh and new from the MCU. I just thought it was really great fun. Number 1, Captain America, the Winter Soldier. Wow, Marvel really did. This is probably one of the best years for the MCU, because they had not one but 2 fantastic films, because this film was so great. Like, it did something different with Captain America. It put him in this weird position where, like, you know how he's that simplistic, oh, I'm for patriotism and da-da-da. But what happens when the government and stuff that you were working with and you had a relationship with turned out to be hiding some dark secrets and was part of that other organization that you tried to fight decades prior? And it puts up some really interesting questions, some really nice team-ups with him and Black Widow, which started a pretty good, friendship that they had throughout the movies. You introduced characters like Falcon. You brought back Bucky, the Winter Soldier. Nick Fury played a pretty great role, one of the best scenes from him in that movie. I just thought this was a pretty well-done, excellent MCU film, and just a film in general. It was great. 2015. Okay, number 3 was The Martian. Now, I thought this film was pretty excellent. It's one of those like claustrophobic type of films where this guy, when they go on a routine trip to Mars, he gets stranded due to the storm, so his team leaves him thinking he died, only to find he survived, and he has to survive there for like years while they try to get back to him, and the people back at NASA's like, oh, he's still alive, we need to go get him. And it had a phenomenal performance from Matt Damon. This really sense of like claustrophobia. It has some funny moments in it too from Matt Damon since he's so charismatic, but it just felt really tense and really like uncomfortable. Like I would not want to be in that situation. And I thought it was played really well done. Number 2, we have Inside Out. Inside Out was a pretty phenomenal animated film from Pixar, another great one, and it started the yearly trend of animated movies that should be nominated for Best Picture but didn't get nominated, because this film was just perfect. Like just like the message in how like really adult, like a lot of these Pixar films can sometimes feel adult, and this one really does, even though it has some like kitty moments and stuff. Like I mean, it just like just the message on how you can use your emotions and stuff. It was really unique, really great. The voice work was great. I just thought it was a really nice film. And of course, number 1 for 2015 was Spotlight. Now, Spotlight actually did win Best Picture, I believe, this year, and it was really well deserved because I thought it was really riveting. It's based on the true story of how the Boston Globe uncovered decades of the Catholic priests and ministers and whatever, like doing really inappropriate and awful stuff throughout the decades to like children and stuff, and how it affected them. And it was really powerful. I mean, the performances were spectacular. I keep saying that, but it really was like just how this was able to happen for so long and how it was uncovered was just really crazy. And I mean, the movie captivated how serious the issue was, and it just felt so real. Like it was just a really powerful movie. I think it deserved all the love it got at the Oscars. It was great. 2016. All right, guys, this year should be a bit easier on saying the movies I've liked because this is when I started my YouTube channel in this year. But yeah, number 3 was Captain America: Civil War. Now, it's a really good film, but it's not my favorite Captain America film. But I still thought it was pretty great how they were able to juggle all these characters in like this standalone movie. Really, I mean, it's not really a standalone movie. Basically, it's basically an Avengers movie, but still, like the story was pretty good. It brought up some interesting conflicts on different sides of the spectrum for the Sokovia Accords, and it put the heroes against each other, which this movie's basically the reason why they lost Infinity War, because they weren't united. So it's really important in the MCU. And I just thought everyone did really well with what they were given, and introduced 2 excellent characters in Black Panther and Spider-Man. And I just thought it was a really good film. Number 2, we have The Edge of 17. Another fantastic film, and it's one of those smaller films, so I didn't really get a chance to see them, but I remember when they released this in my theater, I saw the trailer, I'm like, I need to see this. And when I saw it, Haley Steinfeld gives one of the best performances I've seen this decade. I just thought she was so great, and people like that too, so it feels very real. Like, it just feels like it's a nice film to watch, but it also has its moments of, Woody Harrelson is hilarious and excellent as her teacher that she talks to about her problems. That was great. Like, the supporting cast was pretty good. The movie just feels nice. It's a really good film. And of course, I mean, you guys know, if you guys should know this, number 1 for 2016 was Zootopia. I love this film so much. It's one of my all-time favorite films, and it's just like since I saw it, like it really stuck with me. I thought like just the messaging of the film, how really like mature and stuff it was. Because going in, I didn't really think that much about this film, but along with that, the phenomenal animation. Like I mean, that's basically a given at this point, but it just was pitch perfect. Voice cast was excellent. The story was really good. Nice. Even the Shakira song, I thought that was good. And this is just one of those films that gets better whenever I look back and think about it. I just think it's one of the perfect films for me. It's phenomenal. I love it. All right, we're on to 2017, and if you see my ranking for the movies I've seen, 2 of these switched around, but still they're in my top 3 basically. So number 3 is Wonder. Wonder's in a really sweet and nice film, and it has like some serious moments in it too, but it like when looking at it, it didn't look like it would be something good. It just looked like one of those Hallmark movies. But when watching the movie, it's really sweet. It has like a really nice message on acceptance and sticking together, and don't cast people out just because they're different, because it's based it's on this kid who has a deformity with his face, and he's just trying to fit in school. People make fun of him. He makes some friends, and then it also focuses on his older sister. Like, that's the thing that really did this movie well, is that there's parts of the movie where it'll say, like, in the title card, that person's name, focus on them for a bit, then this person's name, and then that, and it just goes all around to different characters that you wouldn't really think that much of. So the movie focuses on a whole bunch of people around this kid and stuff, and I was like, whoa, like, it was pretty great. And of course, Owen Wilson and Julia Roberts as the parents, really good. And it was just a nice film to watch that came out during Thanksgiving. It was really nice. All right, number 2, guys, is one of my favorite Marvel films, probably my favorite Marvel film, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. I love this film so much. It's the most I've seen in a theater 5 times. And I hold it so dearly to my heart, because after seeing the first film, I was hyped for this. And when people were giving their reviews and stuff for it, they were saying it was good, but not as good, and Marvel and all that stuff. But when I saw it, like, besides the opening, which is kind of clunky, once it popped up the title card, I was like, it just got better and better and better throughout the runtime. I was just blown away. I loved it. The music choices is some of the best I've ever heard in a Marvel film. I really liked some of the stuff they did. I liked the message about, who's your dad, and, fatherhood and stuff. I thought that was great. All the characters were great. Michael Rooker as Yondu was a standout. He was phenomenal. Like, it was just a perfect movie. And just how it ends is really, really wow. Like, I really liked it. It was perfect. Flawless movie. And then number 1 is The Disaster Artist. Now, The Disaster Artist was a film I've been really wanting to see get made. It actually was getting made. I was like, because it's based on the novel by Greg Sestero. I believe I pronounced that right. I'm sorry if I didn't. And it's basically how he met Tommy Wiseau and how they made the infamous So Bad It's Good movie, The Room. And it was just like, it really adds some layers I wasn't expecting this. Like, on how it devastated Tommy Wiseau when they eventually saw the film and he showed it to people and they just made fun of him and laughed at him. And I just felt awful for this guy, because he has a passion for this and all. He's just so bad at it. And I just thought it was really well done. It was really nice. It was a pretty great film. It showed a look on how films could be made the right and wrong ways, basically, in Hollywood. So it was really interesting to look behind the curtain. I just thought it was a pretty great film. It really stuck out with me as one of the best indie films, really, to come out. Easily A24's best film I've seen from them. And yeah, it was pretty great. All right, we're on to 2018, and that is number 3, Bad Times at the El Royale. Easily a fantastic film. With, like, I've been hyped for this film since I saw the marketing, and when I eventually saw it, I was blown away. Like, the cast, like, 1 or 2 of them aren't really utilized that well, but the cast that is, like Jeff Bridges, Cynthia Erivo, John Hamm, unfortunately wasn't really given that much, but Chris Hemsworth doing this little dance routine and stuff was hilarious. But the main standout was Lewis Pullman as the main person at the hotel. I thought he was so good. He basically, by the end, I was like, oh my gosh, like, it really got to me. Like, I thought, just like it doesn't really feel like the main premise is like the Jeff Bridges and all these different people are here, but he's trying to get this briefcase that him and his brother robbed from like a decade prior. But then, like, this cult with Chris Hemsworth warped in and these different characters, and it was just really good. It was just a really good movie. Number 2, Avengers Infinity War. Now, this film was one of my most hyped films ever, and I was so pumped because it was the buildup of 10 years of storytelling, all coming to a head with the big purple villain Thanos coming to collect his stones. And the movie feels so different from the other MCU movies, because it's, from the start, you're on tense, because he's just collecting these stones. He's killing people left and right, and it's on a race to stop him before the inevitable happens. And it's one of the most shocking, crazy movie moments ever at the end of the movie. Really surprising. Like, I was not expecting that. And a lot of people are like, oh, they were making a part 2. No one was expecting that. Don't lie. And it was just really well done. One of the best scores ever created. I don't care if I get flack for this. Phenomenal score. Really well done performances from characters. So much fan service galore that feels earned. It was just a perfect movie. I was just blown away. Number one, if it wasn't for this film, the Avengers would have been number one. But Spider-Man to Spider-Verse. Sony did the impossible after the year prior making the Emoji Movie, which was complete trash. They came out with Spider-Verse, which blew me away with its just standout animation that's really never really been done before that I've seen. Really, like, it focuses on a different Spider-Man that we haven't seen, Miles Morales, which I really liked. So it's fresh. It adds a different Spider-Man that we haven't seen, but it's the same, basically the same Spider-Man we've seen. You have a whole bunch of different ones like Spider-Gwen, Penny Parker, the pig one, the noir one. It was just well done. And actually pretty good story, good voice work. The pace was really good. I just thought this movie blew me away. And even the song choices was pretty good. Like, this was a really well done movie. Alright, we're on to 2019. And now, like I said earlier, this could change in the future, but Marriage Story. Marriage Story, I was really blown away with because it's one of those Oscar baity films, and it's one of the Netflix films too. So that's interesting. But upon seeing it, like, the film is like, it really like does what the main plot is about, how you go through a divorce and stuff. It's a really touchy subject, and I think this movie handles it beautifully. How, like, they're still trying to like talk to each other and still like be in contact because they have a kid, but they really don't like each other, obviously. And the performances from Adam Driver and Scarlett Johansson, especially in that scene, you guys know the scene if you've seen the movie, is wow, it's acting like at its best. And I was just really impressed. I was just really riveted with the story. I was surprised. I was just thinking, wow, this movie's phenomenal. It's so good. Like, I was just really liking the film. Number two, this happened again with these Avengers movies. Avengers Endgame. If it wasn't for this other film that's number one, this would be my number one. But wow, they were actually able to pull it off. The payoff of basically 11 years of storytelling, a conclusion to Infinity War, and just the overall main characters that we've been following for so long. Most of them got pretty great conclusions, like the main ones that are going to be gone. The score was also really top notch. The story, how it involves time travel, I really liked how they handled all that. The characters in it, the fan service was excellent. I loved it so much. I really ate it up. The final battle was, wow. I remember my jaw dropped when I saw it. I was like, it was just really good. I had a blast with this movie. It is the highest grossing film of all time, and it's pretty crazy, but it deserved it. It was an excellent movie. And of course, number one is Joker. Now, Joker blew me away when I saw it. Like, I was just so shocked at the realism, how it really tapped in to, like, the main message this year. There's so many movies that have been coming out that I've been seeing people talk about, like Parasite, Us, Knives Out, Joker, how it's that main message about the 99%, like the, you know, like the not so rich, the poor and all, versus the 1% that's high and mighty against everyone. And that plays really well into the story here. But it's also just about a guy who's treated poorly, has an awful life, no one likes him, he's just treated bad until his breaking point. And it basically develops into a supervillain origin story, you know, the Joker. But it's told so realistically and so creepy. Like, there are some scenes where you feel bad for this guy, and then some scenes where you are terrified of him. You're like, oh, no. And the score really nails home how phenomenal the movie is, because the score really carries the movie. The cinematography is phenomenal. The main performance from Joaquin Phoenix is some of the best acting I've ever seen this decade. I was floored with his performance. It really captivated me. It really hooked me in. How really he went into the role. Like, this movie deserves all the buzz it's getting. I don't care if people trashed on it and stuff and say it's garbage. It was great. I thought this film was phenomenal. So guys, we made it to the end. I know it's a pretty long video, unfortunately, but thank you all so much if you actually did sit through this video. And I just wanted to get this out because to celebrate the end of the decade. But yeah, if you want to follow me on Twitter, it's SwordStable or @StableSword. If you want to hit the subscribe button, that would be pretty great. Hit the bell as well to get notified when I upload. And if you want to comment, what are some of your favorite movies that came out this decade? In any year, really, or just tell me. Just comment. That would be pretty excellent. But But yeah, thank you all so much for watching, and be on the lookout for some more videos coming out in the next few days. I'll see you on the next video. Bye.